I'm Shannon Thrasher, and this is 30 Second Tactics. A while back I made a video about zeroing your red dot on a rifle. It was a in-studio pencil and paper type video, and well, I think it was informative. I had a lot of people say, hey, how about doing that on the range, practical application, showing what you're doing and stuff. So that's what this video is. So if you haven't seen the first one, please go back and watch it, and then we'll talk about this one. So for the red dot itself, I just have a Romeo 5. Almost any red dot's going to be the same thing as far as, you know, how you zero it and the procedure and how you make your adjustments. I just took a magnified optic off a random rifle of mine and threw this on, so I have no idea where this is hitting as far as getting to a zero. Just going to take these little caps off. Like I said, each scope's similar, but then also a little bit unique, so figure out how your particular scope adjusts for windage and elevation. Mount it up. If we're talking about an AR, I like to mount it as far forward on the frame, on the upper receiver, before you get to the barrel as possible. That gives you a greater field of view, more peripheral vision, and some other things. And again, we don't have a eye box, like a certain distance we have to be to this to make it work like you do with a magnified optic. So that's not a concern. It just kind of gets it out of the way, gets it out of the way of the charging handle. I like running it that way. This rifle's got a suppressor on it, but I'm still gonna wear my Ear Pro because hearing never comes back. So basically I'm set up at 50 yards. This is not what's the best distance to zero your rifle at video, but for one, I have a bench at 50 yards. And for two, there's an argument for zeroing at 25 yards and 37 yards and 50 yards and 100 yards. I like a 50-yard zero for a AR or for a patrol rifle type thing. That's going to get you, you know, on the upper thoracic from 20 to 200 yards without much adjustment or any adjustment. So that's what I like to run. So what we're going to do is fire a group. Now, when you're firing your group to zero the rifle, you want to make sure you're shooting the best you can, which is why you see a couple bags here. I'm not just going to hold it and shoot and hope for the best. I'm going to take some pretty precise shots. You can have a bipod, you can have a sled, there's other ways you do it, but just make sure you're making the best shot you can make that day under those circumstances. So some people shoot a 3-round group to zero, some people shoot a 5-round group to zero. I like a 5-round group. It just gives you that couple extra in case you have a flyer. If you don't know what that means, that's just terminology for when you got, you know, 3 or 4 bullets here and then one over here. It just flew away. You just made some mistake, and usually that's going to be shooter error, and you're probably going to know it as soon as you pull the trigger that you had that problem. But if you have a flyer, you can eliminate that flyer from the group and still have 3 or 4 good ones to figure out where your center is. So enough talking. I'll shoot a 5-round group, and then we'll go see what adjustments, if any, I need to make. All right, let's go see how we did. So there's our first group. As you can see, I got one of these little shoot and see targets on here. If you have those, great. If you like them, great. I think they're a little overpriced myself, so I use them once in a while, but not for every range trip. So our group right here, and I was just shooting 55 grain ball ammo. Not a terrible group. As you can see from the video, I shot a little fast. I could probably tighten it up a little bit. But that scope corrects for minutes. And we'll talk more about that when we get back to the rifle. But on this particular box, this particular target, these bigger boxes are minutes, and these smaller boxes are 1/10 of a mil. So we're looking at these. So if you figure the center of this group is going to be right about there, so you got 1, 1/2, and 1/2. So you got like 2 minutes to the right, and probably 1 minute up. So that's the adjustment I'm going to make, and we'll show you that on the rifle in a minute. So I'm going to come over 2 minutes to the right, or 2 inches in this case, and up 1, and then we'll shoot it again and see where we're at. Okay, so you can see on this particular scope, and they're all going to be a little, it's got these little caps to keep things safe when you take it off. First of all, there's a little notch on the top of the cap, which serves as a screwdriver for the adjustment. But you can use a screwdriver, a coin, or whatever, and you'll see that we got a little arrow up, and we got a little arrow right. So this is, I believe, and we'll find out in a minute, I believe this is going to be a quarter minute for every click. So if we were at 100 yards and we want to come an inch, we'd make 4 clicks or come up, 1 minute of angle. But we're at 50 yards. Oh, hold on. There we go. Where am I at? That's why you read the manual, guys. I have so many scopes, I forgot this one. So this one's half a minute. So that's good to know. I was about to over adjust it by twice. So again, we want to come up a minute. So if half, 2 clicks is half, but remember we're at 50 yards and this is set for 100 yards. So we're actually going to do twice the number of clicks. And then the other cap says the same thing. To go up or go right, go that direction on the arrow, and it's a half minute turn. So we said we wanted to go right 2 inches or 2 minutes of angle. So 1, 2, 3, 4 for 1, and 1, 2, 3, 4 for 2. Actually, that's double, but again, it's because we're at 50 yards and we're zeroing at 50 to get a good 100-yard zero. All right, so I'll shoot another 5-round group. I'll spare you guys having to just watch me shoot 5 rounds, and we'll be right back. All right, so there's the second group after the adjustments. I'm going to call it okay. There's actually 5 shots right there. There's 2 really close together. So if you want to, say the zero of this group is going to be right there. It's maybe a ½ inch high and maybe a ¼ inch right. For the type of shooting I'm doing with that gun and the fact that I'm shooting cheap 55 grain, plinker ammo, I'm happy with that group and I'm happy with that zero. If you, are doing more precision work, of course, that's on you. Make sure you're happy with the results before you call it zeroed. The only other thing is if you are using this for hunting or duty or self-defense or something like that, not just plain old plinking, and you're shooting ball ammo, cheap range ammo, well, for the zero, after you get it zeroed, take 5 rounds of your good premium stuff that you're going to be carrying or using to hunt or whatever, and just confirm that zero. Make sure that ammo is not shooting significantly different than the regular range ammo. All right, let's go back to the rifle and we'll finish up. All right, guys, as we're wrapping up this video, there's just a couple more things I want to mention. Your red dot, depending on which one it is most likely going to have a intensity setting, something like 1 through 10 or whatever. When you're doing precision work, have it set at the lowest number you can possibly set it at and still see the dot. That's going to give you the least amount of blur and everything. Other than that, the big problem I see, the biggest mistake I see people trying to zero their rifles is not shooting a good enough group. And I don't mean group size. I mean, they'll shoot 1 round and then make an adjustment, or shoot 2 rounds and make an adjustment. And they're going to constantly be chasing those crosshairs or chasing that dot. So like I said, minimum 3 rounds. I would prefer 5 rounds. Best rounds best shots you can make. Get your bipod, get your bags, take your time, make your good shots, get a good group, and adjust off of that group. So, okay, guys, that's what I have for this week. I hope that was helpful and informative. And if you liked it, please do all the regular YouTube stuff. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share this video, tell your friends and neighbors. As always, guys, work, train, repeat. Stay safe.